Greetings, people in the know. It's Amy March, present and accounted for. I know Jo attempted to explain our family in her previous video, but she excluded, well, everything. Therefore, I have decided to take part in the thrilling trend of so-called Draw My Life tag videos. This means you shall get to look at my fabulous art while hearing me discuss my wondrous life. Shall we get started? This is my familial tribe. My mother and father and my 3 older sisters with whom you've already been acquainted with. Supposedly they had lives before I came along, but I am sure they were utterly mainstream until I was born, so let's skip ahead to moi. I arrived in this world on a warm winter's day in late December. Being in Canada, our winters are usually blisteringly cold, but for this one day, the sun shone, the snow melted, and a beautiful infant was born. So even from the commencement, I was unique. My father passed away the year I was born. Although I did not get the opportunity to know him, I believe he still surveys and guides me. The first memory I can recall is sitting on my mother's lap while she gently rocked me back and forth. We moved an abysmal amount growing up because of Marmy's occupation. She's employed by the Canadian Forces. But no matter where we were, Marmy would always find a cozy corner of the house and precisely place her rocking chair, a quilt, and a vase with fresh flowers. It was always the coziest and the neatest place in the house. We called it Marmy's Corner. I love my mother. She has this fashion of letting us learn by making our own blunders. There was this one summer when we were young where my sisters and I decided that we did not want to do any chores. To our surprise, Marmy acceded and suggested we attempt the experiment for a whole week. The first day was absolutely sensational. We frolicked for as long as we wanted, doing our most cherished activities. In fact, we had so much free time that we ended up completing everything we had longed to do that initial day. By the arrival of the second day, we were at a loss. However, we were determined not to quit and thus soldiered on, continuing the pastimes we had claimed to be able to do forever. As the week went on and chores continued not to be accomplished, the house became disheveled and disordered. It was atrocious. My sisters behaved particularly irritably towards me, and I even grew bored of art. And this was prior to the existence of YouTube, so we couldn't very well find a plethora of cat videos to keep us preoccupied. By the end of the week, we were begging Marmy to let us be useful again. And she just smiled and asked us if we had learned anything. And we promised that we had and that we would never be lazy again. She cautioned us not to go to the other extreme and spend all our time working either. An individual must balance labor and leisure, and it's a lesson that I have never forgotten. I have always been precociously inclined to art. My kindergarten teacher declared my finger painting assignment to be the finest rendition of the Mona Lisa by a 5-year-old she had ever seen. Yes, even at such a tender age, my refined taste and technique were recognizable. Because I have changed academic institutions so frequently, I am very familiar with being the nouveau kid. What you learn is that while each school is different, they are also essentially the same. At one school, it might be talented athletes who rule, and at another, it might be the intellectually gifted. But they all assert their power the same way, by judging and mocking everything that you are. That is why the only way to survive high school is to rise above those who would seek to verbally harm you and scoff at their teasings. You are superior and more mature than them, and you will amass your own circle of friends. You will one day rise higher than your bullies on the social ladder. My current school is particularly clique-esque, but luckily I've been able to ingratiate myself with a large circle of friends. So while I am content, I am eager to depart for university, where I will be surrounded by peers who comport themselves with class and are above grotesque activities such as spitballs. And that brings us to now. With these videos that I have commenced creating, you are seeing the future Amy March being constructed right before your very eyes. With hard work and your support, I shall grow to become the internet star and world-renowned artiste I am destined to be. But not too famous, because that would be selling out. Thank you for receiving my video, and I hope you yourself feel more enriched as a human being by being enlightened about my life. Until next time, adieu!